I'm Maria Jikme, and I'm a 16-year-old based in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, modeling. Modeling is three things at once. It's an artistic cultural system: fashion, beauty, identity. It's a multi-billion-dollar business, and it's a power structure that has historically exploited the exact people it profits from. I grew up calling it none of these things. I called it beautiful. At age 7, I was sketching designs, studying editorials, and telling my brother about my favorite models. Not their measurements, their stories. And every single time, I heard the same thing back. That's a destitute's dream. Models don't deserve what they earn. There's no value in dressing up for the public eye. I grew up. I looked closer, and I realized the people saying that weren't entirely wrong about the industry. They were wrong about the people in it. Here's the reality that young creatives walk in with today. They enter with no information, no leverage, no protection. They sign contracts they don't fully understand because nobody ever taught them what to look for. They watch their face appear in campaigns they never fully approved. And when they seek representation that actually looks like them, they find the same narrow aesthetic back in different packaging. Separate from all of that, there's a quieter problem at hand. A young model shoots an incredible editorial. A photographer directs their first short film. A stylist builds an entire collection. And where does it go? Instagram. Where it gets 3 seconds of attention before the algorithm moves on. There is no serious professional home for emerging creative work in this industry. The industry isn't broken by accident. It's broken by design. Every existing platform, every agency model, every casting site was built to serve brands, not you, because that's where the money is. Talent is the product, and products don't get to set the terms. So I asked a different question. Not how do we fix the industry from the inside out, but what does it look like when we rebuild it with the power on the other side? That question is Canvas. Canvas is a talent platform for the next generation of fashion creatives. Models, photographers, stylists, directors, anyone looking to build a creative identity in this space. Every other platform, talent applies to brands. On Canvas, brands apply to talent. A model builds a creative identity profile. Their aesthetic vision, their story, their values, their non-negotiables, and their work. Short films, editorial shoots, independent runway projects, commercials, lookbooks, you name it. When a brand wants to work with you, they submit a collaboration request. Project details, usage rights, timeline, and rate, disclosed up front before any conversation begins. You review it, you decide. And here's the accountability layer. Every brand on Canvas carries a public transparency score, built entirely from talent reviews after every single collaboration. No score means no access to talent. A bad score is public. Canvas doesn't start with Vogue. It starts where the next Vogue is born, with emerging creatives and independent brands building something real. Because legacy brands, they follow culture, and Canvas is where culture starts. Now, who else is in this space? Traditional agencies like IMG and Wilhelmina control access but aren't built for emerging talent. Portfolio tools like Behance and Format let you show work but have zero accountability layer. Direct booking tools like Swipecast tried to modernize casting but kept brands at the center. Canvas isn't competing with these. It's building something none of them attempted. A platform where protection, portfolio, and power exist in the same place. That combination doesn't exist yet. I've started talking to real people in the creative space about this. A peer I spoke with recently, she didn't want to be named, but she's done a couple modeling projects, which honestly says everything about how unsafe it is to criticize or hold this industry accountable from the inside out. But she said yes. Yes, this problem is real. Yes, this gap exists. Yes, she would use this. I'm not someone the industry has failed. I'm someone who grew up loving it deeply from the outside and slowly understanding why the door felt so heavy for so many people who looked like me. I have every reason to walk through that door and say nothing. But I'm building Canvas instead. What I bring is the insight, the research, and the conviction that this needs to exist. The panel in front of me today is part of how I build my team that executes it. I'm asking this panel for 3 things. 1, connections to people inside the fashion and creative industries who've seen what ethical actually looks like in this practice. 2, mentorship on building something that doesn't eventually become what it set out to disrupt, and your honest read on where the gaps are. I haven't modeled, but I've been paying attention, and sometimes that's exactly the right place to build from. The industry told people like me to admire it from a distance, but Canvas is what happens when we rebuild it instead. Thank you.